Wonderful, Andy. Namaste, Andy. So happy that you are here sharing about the effluent plants. Vishwa, when it started moving into zero waste, we did a workshop. We've invited people across Hyderabad to come. Around 1,000 people had applied, and we'd picked up around 100 people who were very genuinely concerned about our environment, wanted to do something about it. And we had a conversation. When we had this conversation, we were looking at solutions on how to make uh, Hyderabad a zero waste as an example. So then we've divided, all of us put together, 100 of us put together, we had a design thinking workshop and we divided it into um, verticals, individuals, housing communities, commercial organizations. It could be offices, it could be restaurants, it could be uh, um, function halls, industries, medical waste, construction waste. So already Vishwa has done more than 10 talks on this topic, on the topic of environment. Now, I wanted someone to talk about industry. And when I had come across Prasanna and he said he was running an effluent plant, I had invited him to talk. See, Vishwa is a common man's talk where you and me, people like you and me who are getting together and discussing what's happening on the ground level. So it was wonderful to have Mr. Prasanna come and talk to us. Thank you once more for immediately accepting my invite and talking about it, Andy. I have a question, Andy. You have said that there is a regulatory framework. You said there is the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the Central Pollution Control Board. We also have the state pollution control boards and the national tribunals and the local bodies. But how effective are the local bodies and the national green tribunal, Andy?
To be frank, Andy, I can say they're better than what they were 10 years back.
Okay.
Okay. So I think it's because of the push from the Supreme Court to follow, and there are a lot of if you look at it, right, recently, the Bajpalli area, if you look at the news in Hyderabad, okay, there is huge order which is coming out, and people are complaining from the past 2-3 weeks. It is because of pollutants being released out, and so what happens is, right. Okay, let me be candid. Okay, a lot of industries, they don't comply. Okay, they don't send effluent. What they do is they dump it out in the open, or they dump it down in the drains. Okay, and which directly affects you. If you are walking past a drain, that smell is you are inhaling, some sulfur or ammonia or some, it is going to affect you. How effective it is effective than before, but I think there's a lot more which can be done.
It would be good to know what kind of industry, without naming, you are actually handling, and there is an enterprise dimension that you indicated. How is that operating as an enterprise? Selling to cement industry was mentioned there, but as an affiliate, I'm sure treated water is being used as a commodity. Some economics of that and your actual experience. I think it is too generalized. Talk some specifics of your experience would make it very interesting.
Sure, Ramchandra. So this is a huge topic, Andy. So because if you talk about this CETP, right, it's a huge topic if you go into the details, right? So I had just 30 minutes, so I wanted to keep it generic. But so for your question, right? So the industries which normally adhere to send effluent to the CETP are food industry. From my experience, right? So I run the treatment plant in Nacharam and Mallapur, okay, to be specific. Okay, so my plant is a 2 MLD plant. Okay, so typically the CETPs range. Majority of the CETPs are below 5 MLD. Okay, so initially we were supposed to have a 80% capacity when we set this up, but as of now we are running about a 25% capacity ML. For a 2 MLD plant. So the initial plan when we set up the 2 MLD plant was to expand it to an 8 MLD plant. Okay, so we had scope to expand to 8 MLD, but we're not even getting enough effluent to run this 2 MLD plant. Okay. So the industries are food industry. There are small pharma companies which send it out. Okay. And there are electronics and manufacturing industries which send out. So as of now, there are about 250 industries which are signed up with us. And we have about 150 industries sending, 100 industries not sending. So, and 100 industries not sending, but they have a CFO, but for operating, right, they got to present that they have certain affluent which they had to sign up with us. But there are about 100 industries which are not sending. So I don't say that all of them are non-compliant. Some of them might be shut down, some of them might be not operating, and things like that. But it's for the PCB to handle that. We usually give the list to PCB on a monthly basis, and they take care of it. So as far the other part of your question, India, and what you do with the water which comes out, right? So some of that use for gardening, and some of that is left to Musi. We have a pipeline which goes to Musi. We have a guard pond. From the guard pond, we release it to the Musi River. But the parameters at the outlet are strictly monitored by PCB, and there's also a statutory which came out that we need to send this to an STP where it is again treated. Output from us is again treated and left to that. But we are working out through some challenges around that, but it will be done.
Any biological treatments that enzymes are used, and I found that enzymes are more effective than chemical treatments. Do you have any such expertise or experience?
Yeah, yeah. One of the process, right, after the equalization tank, after the coagulation where alum is added, the next phase, it is where the enzymes are added, the bacteria is added. So the media varies based upon the kind of chemical we get, kind of effluent we get. But so the thing is, I'm not an expert in that. I know recently we also started using cow dung as an enzyme in one of the treatments. But based on the effluent, we changed the media which is being used.
Just I wanted to share the experience also. I also have dealt with two, three CTPs. So just wanted to share my experience regarding I was consultant to one of the tannery, so which was a member of the common CTPs. It was near Kanpur. So we had a lot of problem actually with the CTP actually. First of all, actually we had about 30, 40 members of that CTP, and they were discharging their effluent into the CTP, and that was treated actually. The first problem was actually tanneries like have that chrome. Mainly the problem is with the chrome. They do the chrome tanning, and chrome is basically is a very highly toxic substance. So when they were supposed to do the chrome treatment by themselves, they are not supposed to discharge the chromium effluent into the CETP. So, but still we have found that a lot of industries are still not treating up to the mark, and they are discharging it into the CTP, and that's why it is not working properly. So CTP, even though it is not designed, but still a lot of chrome effluent is coming, a lot of toxic effluent is coming, and very difficult to control that. To
Sure.
each and every industry, you cannot control 30 industries, and
Sure,
so
sure.
that was creating a lot of problem.
So,
Secondly, I'll just come. Just secondly, a lot of people are not sharing. Even the most of the we got the grant mostly from the central government. We got the grant for this construction of CTP. We got the grant from state government also. We got the land free of cost also. So all these things were there, but still there is an operational cost. So even that cost, it is very difficult to get the operational cost from the industries. So these are the two main challenges which I have faced in case of CTP. So what is your opinion
yeah.
in these type of cases?
So
Just wanted to
absolutely, Himanshu, what you said is absolutely true. So that's the reason, right? So for example, your first thing which you said, the chromium is being let in the effluent, right? So normally
yeah.
what we do is there are two ways of accepting the effluent. Okay, one is through the pipelines. Okay, the second one is through tankers. Okay, so the problem which you are telling happens when you accept it through the pipelines, because you don't know which industry is sending out which kind of effluent, because it all comes to the common pipeline and everything is mixed up, and you don't have control as to accept or reject an effluent. Okay, So here in our case, right, we have a pipeline, but we specifically rejected it, and we are accepting it, the effluent, only through tankers. So when the tanker comes in, right, we do a basic test as to the COD, BOD, as well as ammonia and other things. In our case, right, it's not tanneries here. So our major problem is with ammonia. So it's very hard to treat ammonia, and it also messes up the other parameters. So what we do is, any tanker which comes with ammonia, we reject it. So and as of now, the manifest of accepting and rejecting is also online. So as soon as we reject it, okay, it goes to the state PCB. So the PCB will actually track what is happening with the tanker, whether they're taking it back, fixing it, sending it, or they're sending it somewhere else or dumping it. They will handle it. But we won't let that into our CETP. So we rejected it at that point.
Sir, how do we reduce ammonium nitrogen in uh, pharma effluents? Is there any separate technology available? Please let us know.
Yes, the thing is, there are two ways of treating this, right? So one is the regular way which the CETP does. So for the ammonia and other things, the only way to treat is using a ME operator, where high TDS effluent is treated. So ME is what is this? There are two technologies there. Okay, these are the ZL zero level discharge plants, right? The MEE plants are the multi-effect evaporator plants, okay, where the effluent is burnt, okay, it's burnt, and the sludge which comes out of it is sent to landfill. But all the gases, which will be released, they are not released into the air, but they are released into a controlled environment where it's treated and then discharged.
Would you like to answer that, Mr. Himanshu?
Yeah. Basically, the ammonia is basically treated by stripping method, actually. Actually, there is a sort of spray that is done from the top like a scrubber, and air is passed through this. So because of that stripping of the effluent, all the ammonia will be completely taken out of that effluent. The stripping technology is the best technology for treating the ammonia. However, the ZLD is basically that whatever ME you are talking of, that is for the high TDS effluent.
Right.
If the effluent is very high TDS, in that case, all the salts will be separated out. All this effluent will be condensed. It will be evaporated, and the water will be condensed. And whatever the salt comes out, so that salt will be basically a cake sort of form. It comes out, and that is nothing but it is high TDS effluent. So ME is used for high TDS, and for ammonia removal, it's a stripping technology is used basically.
What impacts of CETP method on poor and low socio-economic groups of population? What are the impacts?
So the impact is just environmental as such, for low socioeconomic. I don't think they're direct. The thing is, the effluent does not differentiate between social status, and it affects each and every one. Even the kids of the industries, which are releasing effluent into the water, it affects even their kids too. So the socioeconomic conditions, I don't think has any effect on this.
So my question is related to how dyeing industry can establish CETP, and what is the cost of CETP, as a dyeing industry has mostly uh, liquid or fluid effluents are produced.
Sure. So the thing is, Radhe, I'm not exactly sure about specific CETPs in dyeing industries, but there are multiple CETPs running in Trichur, West Bengal, specific to the dyeing industry. I don't know the exact process on how the treatment process there, but to set up a CETP, it is a bit expensive. Say, for example, to set up a 2 MLD plant, it's about, say, around 25 crores as of now. So you can multiply based upon that.
Why can't we have a common effluent treatment plant zone-wide? Let's say in our own Hyderabad city. Why are we so reactive? Why are we not proactive? For example, today, the government is insisting on, let's say, rainwater harvesting, solar panels. We won't give permission without anything. So this kind of thinking is good. But in the case of sewage treatment, it's very unfortunate that many of the gated communities are discharging effluent into the stormwaters or even the sewage system untreated. There's no, I mean, nobody can monitor that. So when even in the, let's say, high-tech city where I live, when we had the vision to create high-tech city, I'm not blaming anybody in particular, but nobody even thought of insisting, why can't we have a common effluent treatment plant? Not necessarily industries. The industries, the gated communities, the domestic households, all those people's, the sewage being coming out could have been channelized into a common effluent treatment plant, and they could have collected some cess or whatever you call it. So I think I'm making this point to everybody here because at the inception stage itself, at least now with your experience, you should all um, give your suggestions to the government to take such things into consideration and go for a zone-wise kind of a treatment plants where even better monitoring could be done. Yes, some people, yes, I can tell very confidently for the sake of, with pride, because I am from Hyderabad. We have got somebody in Hyderabad, from one Mr. GKP Chowdhury, chairman of Vasant Chemicals, who is responsible for starting the first common effluent treatment plant in India. Okay, I mean, you can correct me if it's not the first one, but I know very well it's something of a certain scale, which has really been appreciated at not only national level, international level. It is in Jidimetla. Since you're not mentioned that, you mentioned Ramki and all, I thought, let me also mention that. It's a common effluent treatment plant, and he had the vision of doing this not now. It's more than a decade back. And it is on the whatever you mentioned, it is on the first polluter pay principle, which was I think mooted somewhere in Rio conference or whatever, wherever. He has implemented that.
Just to add to that, there are three CETPs in Hyderabad, and one is the JATL, which you're talking about, Jidimetla. There's the Patancheru CETP, and there's the Mana CETP. So these are the active CETPs in Hyderabad as of now.
What is the minimum cost to establish a CETP?
It's around 20 to 25 crores as of now. A 2 MLD plant.
A 2
MLD, million liters per day capacity plant.
25 crores?
20 to 25 crores, yeah.
And what is the largest size in India?
I'm not sure. Normally, the CETPs are below 5 MLD. Okay, there are some CETPs around 10 MLD too. But the government gives a lot of subsidies for these. And they give land there, so that brings down the cost a little bit. The subsidy and land costs.
Across India, any idea how many are there?
About 190 from what I know.
My question is, you talked about organic enzymes in the initial treatment process. I'm curious whether the process is sufficient at that point of time. Are you having the cascaded treatments of enzymes later on, during the treatment plan, or even at the end of the treatment?
Yeah, the thing is, it's not a one solution fits everything, Prasad Garu. Basically, what happens is based upon, so we have the input and output parameters, right? So based upon the parameters, we change the enzymes too. So because there might be certain effluent which does not work with the enzymes we are providing. So based on that, we enhance and change, and we do a lot of R&D on that. Our technical team it does, and make sure the output parameters match what is required.